Hey, mentor, I am Paul Heminger. If you're watching or listening to this, it's because you said yes, and I'm so thankful that you did. The kid that you are about to meet, maybe you've already met them, it has been looking for you. We come into this world looking for someone, looking for us. Sometimes we get it from our parents, sometimes we get it from our teachers. But statistically, what children need, especially kids from hard places, is one single caring adult. One relationship, one set of eyeballs that is completely for them and for their life, that speaks with their presence. You are valuable, you are worthy, you're cool, I like you. What do you need? How can I help? So the goal is to help you to enjoy the process of mentoring, to feel equipped and onboarded and prepared for the journey. To know kind of all the options there are for other trainings, resources, questions, kind of the flow of the process. And ultimately, it's also to help you retain. So when a kid or a kid from hard place, because of how they're feeling or acting, makes the relationship feel odd or weird or whatever, and then maybe you feel odd or weird and you're like, am I even helping? I don't know what to do. I feel awkward. And maybe you slowly distance and they slowly distance, or whatever happens, you really do matter to that kid. And relationships for people, especially kids from hard places, can be the scariest thing in the world. Relationships have taught them that they are safe, that they are trustable, or that they're untrusting, and your job is to be the unwavering, safe place of trust. And so if you're sturdy, if you retain, not forever, but for a good duration, that speaks volumes, and it changes the way a child thinks, how they feel, how they behave, and a lot of times you'll never know. Which is why, as a part of this onboarding, we're going to learn to ask teachers and administrators, how is the child responding, before and after I come and go. We'll get into it. We'll have multiple sections here. You can listen as you walk. You can watch if you want to connect. But at the highest level, we're going to be talking about welcoming you to this team. So this is not a solo sport. You're not doing this by yourself. The Toolkit, which is like, what are you actually doing? And when does mentoring week by week start? Some emotional kind of instructions on listening and some resources there. Some other things that are kind of like housekeeping, have-tos and other things. And then kind of this big picture, the big picture that I see, that many others see around one relationship scaled, and how that transforms a community and how important you are to that process. So this is a team sport. When you decided to say yes to mentoring, the last thing that we want you to ever feel is alone. So there's kid people out there, teachers that spend so much time, administrators who care for the kids, that they want to help you. They want to be a resource to you. They might not always have the time, but they want to be really present to you. The schools that we have right now, that is absolutely their heart. And we want to create space for other mentors, other adults who are going through this process, to be a resource for you as well. And the thing is that your work of relating to this kid is simply developing a relationship that has less to do with quality and more to do with quantity. I had a friend growing up who we would always say, his name's Robbie. He's like, he's so good at wasting time with me, where he didn't really have an agenda. He was unhurried. He was unrushed, and you could just be with him. And when we were at his bachelor party, that's what everyone said. It was like, he was just with you. He was present. He wasn't this hyped up camp counselor. He wasn't all about like the big Christmas gift or, going on this grand adventure. He was just with you. And that's really the spirit of this, is that it's more about consistency, and showing up and care over the long term of quantity time. That's what speaks volumes. The time with the mentor, with the mentee, can go up and down, can be high quality one day, low quality the other. That's okay. It's the consistency. We always say that there's kind of 3 steps to this process. The first one is the most important, that mentors win by showing up. That's 90% of the work. That you showed up with your feet, you're there, you did it. The second step is living out who you are. Living out means, like, you have a story. Now, you don't want to self-disclose, we'll get into that, your whole story, but you want to, for the purpose of helping a child feel known and seen and valued, you can share about what it's like, when you were a kid, or different things as a part of your life to kind of like stimulate them sharing, if they even want to talk, if they even need it. Some kids, like, they will just talk your head off. Some of them are just more introverted and they're more quiet and they don't need so much talking, and they're open to you talking a little bit more. And then the last one, I guess this is a caveat, is speaking in. When we hear the word mentor, sometimes we think of like advice or guidance, and that's true, but that is the last step. We earn that. Trust is gained over time. And when we have the honor of speaking into a child's life, because they're so impressionable, that is sacred ground. That is holy ground. We need to really respect that and be careful and slowly speak in with any sort of advice or guidance over the long term. When I was in 4th grade, I was picked on a lot. I was bigger. The cool kids, Justin and Danny and some others, they would have this rhyme that they would say out on the playground out at recess, and I just felt so small. I probably didn't tell my teachers. I didn't tell probably my parents, but I did have a cousin who would show up, like, during the summers and stuff like that. And once he came to visit me at school, eat lunch with me and go out to recess. And I tell you, I felt 10 foot tall, because I felt in some ways shielded, protected from that negative influence, because I knew that there was someone on my side. There was someone for me. Everything that your mentee experiences is life. There will be a lot of negative influences in their life, whether it comes from their home, sometimes from school, from their peers, and you get to be that protective shield of warmth and care that says, like, no, I'm for you. I'm for you. So what do you actually do? This is kind of the toolkit of what you do. So for me, when I mentor a kiddo, it doesn't start at the time when we're eye to eye or knee to knee. It starts in my brain, my emotions, and my prayers, and my imagination on the way there. That could be days before, but the exact same thing is happening in your mentee too. So what I encourage you to do is kind of have like a pre-game ritual that on the way to mentoring, that you are thinking about, if you're a praying person, praying for your time together. And there is something about verbalizing. So if you take a walk or you're driving, verbalizing what you're thinking and feeling unpacks kind of what's inside. Because often we don't know what we're thinking. It's like underneath the surface. But by verbalizing it, we get it out. And we get it out, we get to see it, be like, oh, that is how I'm feeling. I am a little anxious. I am a little, frustrated that I have this big project at work and I really want to work out that, but I committed to this kid, and, that's going to affect mentoring. So whatever is inside, help it come outside on the way to mentoring. And then when you're there with a kid, whether that's the goal is weekly. If it can't be weekly, 3 times a month. If it can't be 3 times a month, every other month, but that's the minimum. Or 2 bi-weekly, every other month. And we have a playbook that you can use. It's basically a weekly guide that has 3 open-ended questions, and it has a framework: focus, friends, freedom, future. You can use that. That helps you kind of, put on the table like, hey, kiddo, whether you're in high school or middle school or fifth grade or whatever, we could go through this. We could just ask these questions. You answer them, I answer them as a way to get to know each other. But that's kind of like the minimal viable structure if you want it or need it. If you don't necessarily need it or want it, it's the art of building a relationship with a kid that it's kind of, it's an adventure. It's a craft. It takes time. It takes stories of hearing what mentoring is like through other people. And so we encourage you to just, learn what works for you. Figure out how you like to play, what you like to talk about. Listen in. What do they like to play? What do they like to talk about? A lot of times, you're not trying to get things out of a child. You're not trying to give them a cathartic moment or a counseling session, but you are wanting to create space for anything that they do want to share. And oftentimes that can happen if you're playing checkers, chess, Uno, any other kind of game. It can happen in silence. So if you or the child is anxious, you don't have to fill space. We are so good at filling space. My wife is a counselor, and she loves therapeutic silence. Like, she would rather be with someone in silence, and makes her a good counselor. But we're gonna share with you this YouTube video, and I encourage you to buy it, of this book called The Rabbit Listened. Highly popular, thousands of 5-star reviews, like 6,000 or something like that. And it's the story of a boy named Taylor who something bad happens, like his tower falls down, and he's feeling a certain way. And then there's all of these different animals that, based on kind of their personality trait, they want Taylor to go through their process. So if it's like the bear, it's like, oh, let's be so mad at this. Or if it's like the ostrich, you're like, let's pretend it didn't happen, and put your head in the ground. But the rabbits, the warmth and tenderness of the rabbit just stays there and just listens and waits and honors the child's process. After a while, Taylor opens up and he starts to go through the process of each animal, going through and kind of letting himself unpack it in that way. And at the very end, because the rabbit listened, he's able to build again. Because he has healthfully grieved that little, tragedy in his life, and now he's ready to do it again. So we want to embrace that. We want to embrace that spirit, which honestly, it's a relational tool for all of our relationships. And that's why that book is so powerful. It's really for adults, is to embrace that silence, if that's what the moment calls for. And then the other thing is that, depending on the school that you're in, you're able to take a walk potentially, outside or inside, cameras, track, etc., through the hallways. One kind of cool hack about neuroscience and neurology is that when we're a baby, the rocking motion, that very soothing, calm process, rocks us back and forth. What that does is that it stimulates our right brain and then our left, our right and our left, our left. It's called bilateral stimulation, and that exact same thing happens when we take a walk. So when you take a walk with a kiddo, there's a lot going on in their brain and in your brain, and naturally things just kind of fall out. If you're trying to get to know someone or anyone, or even just trying to process something yourself, taking a walk and talking is extremely valuable. So that's something that you can do with your time. And there's many other things that you can do. Play, games, conversations, writing, activities. You can just, Google AI, like tons of different things. And I think this goes back to this is a team sport. Most of these things, depending on if you're like in a lunch setting or beyond, is likely appropriate. Maybe just ask. Just say, is this okay? Is this okay? Is this okay? Eventually, like, the administrator will be like, it's okay. It's fine. You can do that. And then you can build confidence that you can be doing the right thing. Now, after mentoring each week, something happened. Now, if you were to rate it -5 to +5 experience, if it's anywhere in the negatives, it could be because of the mentee or yourself. That is something to be shared. And it could be like, it was boring, or I don't think anything happened, or they said something that I'm not sure if I'm supposed to share with somebody else, or they just didn't want to talk to me. So in the negatives, when our brains are in the negatives, it's because we're not in our thinking part of our brain. We're in our feeling part of our brain. This is where we are distrustful. We don't feel safe for whatever reason. It's not you, it's something else. It's something external, but it's like it's coming across as at you. And when we feel unsafe, we do things that help us to survive. We fight, which means that we're grumpy. We flight, which means that we're just kind of like in another world. We disassociate, we like are distracted, we whatever. Or we freeze. We like just are stuck and frozen, kind of in time. The last one is fawn. It is that they're feeling so unsafe and so untrusting that they would try to make you feel comfortable. That's a little bit harder to understand and unpack, but notice maybe if there's some weeks where like they're like overly attached or gravitational. That might mean that they are super comfortable, or that something else maybe is going on in their lives too. But whatever that is, if your school gives you a piece of paper, share that, write that down. If you can, find an administrator, find principal, vice principals, guidance counselor, have a quick conversation, huddle up if you have time, and share that. Talk it through. And that they'll help you understand kind of what they're seeing or hearing, or maybe they're aware of something, or maybe you're helping them to be a little bit more curious and engage and investigate if something's going on. The other thing is that even if it's in the positives and you want to share that experience, administrators and guidance counselors just love hearing that. So no conversation is wasted about mentoring. And something that I want to help you feel is that if a child, you feel like they're disengaged or they don't care, or maybe if they do, you want to know, like, what's it like for the kid, for the mentee, before you come and after you come. Often I hear this story from others is that like it's when mentors come, it's a favorite time of the week, but the mentor will never know. And the administrator will say like, they will not stop talking about you. Or the teacher will say like, oh, they've been asking like 10 times a day, like, is it today? Is it today? Is it today? So it's good to know those things because it can give you like a feeling of value and pump up like, that's what it's all about anyways. That's the transfer. Even if they don't say something, it's good to know kind of like over time, you will be depositing so much value and worth and care into this kid that it will make a difference whether it's observable or not. That's the idea of retainment, is that you got to believe it. You got to be a believer. You got to believe that that's happening. And then the last thing around this is, as you are leaving that time with that mentee, have that bookend routine post-game debrief with yourself. So again, when you verbalize things, they become more crystallized and real, and you want to do that to yourself. You want to talk out loud. I talk out loud to myself all the time. Often I use voice memos, but then I also do this one thing that you may or may not want to do. It is completely optional to you, but I'm going to talk about it if you do it now or ever. And that's the use of AI. So some people, they use AI all the time. Some people, they don't. The way that I use AI in this circumstance is that AI models are trained on all the world's information. And a big part of the world's information is about youth mentoring. There's information out there. So for those that use AI and aren't averse to it, what you can do is, rule number one, never use their name when you talk to AI. But do say, so what I do is I open up a chat and I say, this chat is about my time youth mentoring in a school with a 5th grade boy, and I meet with them every week, and this is how I'm feeling about it now, and etc. And what pops out will likely be helpful to you. Now, eat the meat, spit out the bones, but it can be extremely helpful. And each time that you are either going to or coming from mentoring, if you have like something stuck, if you have something unverbalized, you can do like, you can open up a voice memo app. That's what I do. And I just talk for like a very long time, not into AI. And then I copy and paste that transcript into the chat, and then it feeds me back things and I ask questions. Or I'll just do it right into like that AI chat, and then it'll give me back something. Some people use ChatGPT, some people use Gemini. I don't think people use Claude yet, but there will be more and more and more AI tools conversationally like that could provide quite a bit of value, especially if you do it securely and privately. Now, you can receive wisdom from other mentors, other principals, and administrators. Do not negate those personal relationships. There is value and utility there. And if you're someone who uses AI, it's okay to use that. But even if you have a question about something that was given back to you, you can be like, what do you think about this? Is this true? It's just a way to get better at, I guess the craft of it. But I wanted to be explicitly clear. Just don't use their names when it's going into AI. Just don't. It's not that it's unsafe to do so. It's just why not either make up a name or just don't use their name at all. So some other housekeeping things is the idea of mandated reporting. So to keep a child safe, if they share something that must be reported, there is this like volunteers, teachers, social workers, police officers, many others are mandated reporters. The school district themselves will have their own policy when it comes to volunteers around mandated reporting. They should have their own policy or their own stamp of approval, video or one pager or something, and process by which you report mandated. Now, this is probably, I can ask other programs, but probably pretty rare. But if a child does share something that's on the edge, on the fence, you do need to report it. We can talk about in another training or on the video, like you can share with the kid, like, hey, we can talk about anything, but just so you know, if we talk about this, or this, I'm going to have to tell an administrator just so that they know. They don't feel like blindsided. That's what I've done in the past. But those are things that you definitely want to have kind of on your mind as you're vetting through conversations that might be on the edge of inappropriate or abusive or something like that. So if you have any questions about that, we will answer those questions, and likely, the school districts will provide that very specific guidance around that safety. The other thing is around just additional supports and resources. So if you have a thought or question, we want to give you videos and books, and there's lots of resources out there. You can go find them yourself. You can share them with the community of other mentors, because hopefully we'll have that that connection time over email and potentially in person, likely in person, that we can do that. And then we do hope that we also provide some support and resources for not only those in-person dialogue times with school staff and administrators, but other mentors. That'll be dependent on the degree of hosting that we have, interest, etc., where we can have time to share the highs and the lows, Q&A, etc. But that's as much resources as we can share. It's also great that you go find resources that fit you, fit your life, fit your style and personality, and that you share that with us and the administrator, so that could be just a resource for everybody else. So I hope I didn't miss much of anything, but I think the last thing that I want to leave you with is the big picture. So we've been talking about how vital it is in the process of helping a child know what it's like to be in a healthy, caring relationship with another person by you being that. It's so important. Again, statistically, it is the difference between a statistic and a success story is a single caring adult. It always goes back to that. When I look at Miami County or anywhere else, I know that there's stories of pain and suffering for these kids. I know that many of their homes are are filled with certain things that are unhealthy, probably generationally passed down from parent to parent. And that relationship is the key to healing. All hurt happens in relationship. All healing happens in relationship. But when we look at the kids in our county, let's say, now this is not like, I'm not saying that every child in a single parent home is deeply suffering, but there is something about, the 3,700 single parents and the 7,000 kids in those homes having some sort of sense of whatever kind of stability there is. And we can't know who's actually at risk. We can only take guess. I think every kid is vulnerable, personally. And the way that we transform a community for generations is through relationships one at a time. So thank you for being that. Like, you are the one who is transforming a future family's life. Like, that child that you are with will maybe one day be a spouse and a parent. And love is never wasted. So whatever you're investing, whatever care that you're investing into that child, it is not going away. Like, it is creating a blueprint in some kind of way of what they want or hope for in a relationship in the future. And you have other people in your life. You have friends and family members. What we want to be as a community of mentors is that direct care, but we also want to be the voice of the child that has yet to have that relationship. When we become collectively the voice of the child, that means by word of mouth, we're sharing the stories and invitations to family and friends. We end up caring for that next kid in line that we'll never meet. And by nature of it, we're caring for their family, their friends. If that kid has such a profound experience, we're transforming their own family culture. We're helping their teachers and administrators. We are fanning the flame of health, healing, and transformation of a community. So my invitation to you is think about multiplying your impact by sharing this experience, the highs and the lows, but invitationally, that there are other healthy, caring adults yet to be activated. Employers, retirees, young adults, churches, businesses, civic organizations, friends, family, neighbors, that the opportunity, this call to adventure, has just not been laid out for them yet in the way that you can share that. And if you do, and you share it with 10 people and 3 say yes, that's transforming a lot of lives, 3 lives in their families. And we would be so grateful and so thankful to be at this team sport together, caring for our kids, to reestablish the village that it requires to take care of a child. And we have a saying in the mentoring partnership and amongst all the partners. It's the story of a village in Africa where, if I meet you on the street, I go, hey, it's good to see you. It's been a while. How are you? Oh, I'm fine. Everything's fine. Good. Things are good. How are you? Oh, things are good. Our standard greeting is just a way to warm up the conversation. It's just a cultural nuance. But in their culture, their question is not how are you? The question is, it's more generous. It's how are the children? And what's so beautiful about that is that the response is always, and the children are well. The reason why is because they take so much collective care to care for the children. They believe that the health of their whole society is dependent on the health of their children, the health of the next generation, of helping families, workplaces, streets, schools, all be well because they are investing so much in the kids. They're taking care of their children. So that's the question. How are the children? How are the children in Miami County? How are the children in our school districts? And what we want to do together is to help answer that question where we can actually answer it. The children are well. And that's what we're moving towards. So thank you for being a part of it. Thank you for retaining, for showing up, for living out who you are, for going through the moments where you're like, I don't want to do this, but you still do it. For asking questions and being curious and being invitational. This is all about you caring for that kid and the joy that we get to experience together, building meaning and purpose into our lives. And it's wonderful. If you have any other further questions or concerns, send us an email, comment in the video, share it with your administrator, and we'll try to answer as much as we can. Thank you for listening. If there's anything that you feel like we missed, we would like to add it or create another video. And thank you so much.